Chapter 29. The evening light was waning slowly. The sunset was a brilliant tableau of colors in a dynamic flow of reds, oranges, purples, violets, and vibrant shades in between. The sun seemed reluctant to leave, gathering its final farewell as its deepest red sank below the horizon. When Oriole came close to the beach, she hovered just above the sand a few meters to let Soan down, and then she fell to the beach in exhaustion.
"Welcome,"
came the voice of the queen. But Alter wasn't there, so the words of the queen seemed like the sonar frequencies of a riddle. Alter arrived just a minute later, and immediately she went into her diplomat role, making introductions and gathering herself to be a channel for Queen Elaine.
"Can you understand me now?"
The queen asked. Both Soin and Oriole nodded. Oriole was still gathering her strength before she attempted to fly again.
"You look very tired, my dear Phoenix,"
the queen said.
"It was a great pleasure to see you fly. You are a magnificent creature, one I hope will remain a loyal subject to my cause."
Oriole stuttered a response, not really knowing how to respond.
I, I, I appreciate your comment. Thank you, Your Highness. I will stay nearby, but I promise not to eavesdrop.
Oriole leaped into the air and flew off into the night, but even in the dimness of the final photons, now slanted well into the heights of the sky, her feathers glimmered in the softest of violets and greens.
"She is a beautiful creature."
Elaine said, smiling in her appreciation. Oriole disappeared into the night, and then Alim turned to Soin as if Oriole no longer existed.
"So you are the representative?"
Soin nodded.
May I sit?
"Of course."
It is an honor to have a private audience with you, Soin said. Thank you for making this possible.
"We will see if you remain grateful after we complete our discussions."
Again, the queen smiled, but her tone shifted to an unmistakable coolness that was both aloof and absolutely certain of itself. Soin waited to make sure she had finished speaking.
Oriole will return at our signal.
"Are there other creatures that are waiting for me?"
Soin let her words hang in the night air. There was a fire that provided warmth and light, but Soin was a distance away from it, and its warmth was minimal.
I am here to discuss a possible peace between the sea dragons and the werewolves.
"This is not between the sea dragons and the werewolves.
Alim interrupted hastily.
It is between a god and the recalcitrant subjects of this planet, wherever they might be found, and in whatever form they might be localized, sentience being the quality that matters. So let's be clear about that from the beginning, lest our discussions die before their birth is given."
We will do our best to bear this important nuance in mind.
Soin replied.
"When you say we, how do you mean this?"
We are a collective of identities across an infinite life stream of identities spread across various spacetimes. We are aware that we are one, many, and all at a fractal level at the same moment of time because we see ourselves as a consciousness that is non-localized and part of a larger consciousness that is part of a larger consciousness. And we could go on and on. That is the fractal aspect. However, we're quite sure it would bore you, as most conversations about the infinite do.
"And why do you presume this?"
We believe you propose yourself to be a god of this planet. Gods are bored of the infinite. Isn't it why you have incarnated in the physical world?
"So every decision you make as a collective?"
the queen asked.
Yes.
"And how does this happen? Do you vote? Does the majority win?"
The queen asked, sounding authentically curious.
It is a feeling, actually.
Soin replied quietly.
We sense it across our incarnations. and it reflects back to our localized self. We sense this. It is not a vote or a discussion. We believe something at our inner core that we have agreed to across our incarnations.
And what is that belief?
We believe that we are a part of the one, many, and all consciousness that manifests as nature, as life, as the makings of life. We are part of that.
So you are part of God?
Yes,
The queen spoke confidently.
And therefore, you are part of me.
yes,
So we are aligned?
we should be, yet we are not.
The queen squinted her eyes.
And how can you be part of me and yet not be aligned?
Do you feel aligned to the one, many, and all consciousness? The consciousness that is the infinite life of all things? The consciousness that by its very nature is aware of its unity and therefore manifests as love's intelligence in the form of expansion?
You have said a lot of words that are abstract and of dubious merit. Are you aligned?
We try. Every moment, we try. We do not always succeed, but if we believe and follow that belief, regardless of our success in every moment, we are still moving into a higher alignment, a more synchronous life experience with the one, many, and all consciousness. That is the movement we choose to experience in all of our incarnations. That is the belief that penetrates our lives no matter the space-time we find ourselves in.
You are an interesting creature, I must say.
Elaine said.
However, you have one blind spot that causes your belief to be misguided.
Soen looked at Elaine with interest but remained silent.
You have forgotten that what is abstract pales in comparison to what is real. What is before you is God. I am real. I may not be the God, but I am a God, and my alignment is incontestable. And if I am aligned to the one God, then your belief must be transposed from the abstract dimensions of belief and faith and placed into my hands, which are real.
Alim gripped the air as if she was squeezing the life from it. After a short pause, Elaine moved slightly closer to Soen, watching them carefully as if searching for a birthmark.
Do you understand the difference between what is real and what is abstract?
What is real?
Soen asked, turning his attention to Elaine.
I know what is physical or material or dimensional. It doesn't confer reality to it any more than what is in an abstract belief or our imagination. One reality requires a sensory system and brain, and the other requires a feeling center and imaginative faculty. One is based on physicality, one is based on intuition. So tell us, what is real? The physical presence of an object, such as yourself, or the intuitive understanding of love?
A word of caution is advisable here.
Elaine growled, her neck extending to such a degree that she towered above Soen.
You are speaking to the God of this planet. Be exceedingly careful with your words as to who I am and my importance. You cannot claim that love is more important than a planetary God. Love exists because I exist. We are not to be compared, for we are one and the same.
Forgive our misfortunate comparison. It was not said out of disrespect. Rather, it is our way of showing how reality is not just physical subjects, but forces and effects. These are less real to us than the feeling of love's intelligence and the imaginative reach of a pure abstraction, such as the one, many, and all consciousness. That is all we are saying.
And I am saying that you are misguided. Now why are you here?
The words rolled off Alter's mouth like one boulder after another being pushed off a cliff. Sowen cleared their throat.
On behalf of all of the recalcitrant and sentient beings of this planet, I am appealing to your sense of love and godly grace. I am here to ask for a plan whereby all of us can coexist without the savagery of war. We are certain that if you want the recalcitrant beings of this planet to follow you, it must start with love and grace, and if that is granted to us, we will return it.
Elaine smiled.
And this love and grace you speak of, how would it look to my subjects now? Would I look like a god or a frightened child who is seeking approval and acceptance? I just finished motivating my subjects. They are primed for war and the expedient destruction of those who deny my godhood. My purpose.
Sowen glanced at Alter, wondering how she was imputing all of this experience. The beach seemed empty and quiet. Only the three of them remained, and the fire's warmth felt good as the night air from the sea rolled into the beach.
Have the sea dragons ever gone to war before?
Sowen asked.
Yes,
How long ago, and with whom?
they fought against the air dragons thousands of years ago. They are a restless race who were forced to retreat to the sea, and they have wanted to regain the land and ultimately the air for hundreds of generations. The planet sent me to make this possible. I cannot deny them. And if they serve me, I must in turn incorporate their desire for retribution into my purpose.
You said they lost to the air dragons. They are not here anymore. How can it be that retribution is served? The werewolves did not force the sea dragons into the sea. In their legends, the air dragons were killed by the werewolves. The werewolves, in a sense, saved the sea dragons from extermination.
Please tell me, my sage representative, how did the werewolves exterminate the air dragons?
They poisoned them.
Sowen let the words marinate in the cool air.
Poisoned them? How?
The werewolves' legends are incomplete in this detail, but the air dragon's food supply was tainted by the werewolves, and the air dragons died off. Thus, the one war that the sea dragons had and lost, their enemy was vanquished by the very creatures that they now want to kill.
Legends can be fabricated to tell lies.
What if this legend is true? There are, after all, no air dragons in this world.
There is one, at least one.
Obsidian arrived in the same manner as all of us travelers did. And even if that were not true, he is one, and compared to you, is not a threat.
If we were to coexist, how would this love and grace manifest?
The queen asked.
Our proposal is simple. We continue to meet regularly, alternating our locations and expanding the number of representatives on both sides. In these meetings, we would discuss ways in which we could accommodate one another. We would concentrate on small steps initially and increase the scope over time. While these meetings occur, we steadfastly work toward peaceful relations. No calls to war, no incitements.
Then I am weak, God.
No, you are a wise God.
Wise to the recalcitrants and weak to my subjects. I would be trying to win the goodwill of the very ones who doubt me today while snubbing my believers. This is not a strategy I can adopt. Is this your only plan?
Sowen looked at Elaine, conjuring all of their voices and opinions.
There is an alternative.
I'm listening. You have 1 minute.
We will give you a large tract of land that would accommodate thousands.
You do not own the land. It is not something that can be given. I own all of this planet. I am the giver of the land, water, and air, and only I can give. If that is your alternative, your peace plans are unborn.
We were not finished.
Then continue.
Elaine said coolly.
This large tract of land, bestowed by you, would be honored by the werewolves. In return, the sea dragons would provide resources from the sea, things like medicines and foods.
Alim chortled.
We become the werewolves' farmers? Are you crazy? That is your alternative?
We were not finished.
Hmm.
We would, in turn, train the sea dragons on the land, its various uses, resources, herbs, minerals, and so on. In doing this exchange, we would strengthen our coexistence.
But what remains is where and to whom we put our faith. Would the werewolves worship me as the god of this planet?
Possibly.
Possibly will not do. Your plan is rejected. War is my best way to achieve unity on this planet. The recalcitrants leave me no choice.
We only say possibly because we do not know how you would bestow your love and grace as the god of this planet. If it is done with a light hand and an open heart, it will be a certainty. If it is done with a heavy hand and a closed heart, it will not happen.
You speak to me as an equal. I sense this in your choice of words. Would all of the recalcitrants behave similarly?
We do not see equality from one to another, but rather we see equality as a property of wholeness. There is one mind that governs the whole of reality. Reality, in this context, is all moments of space-time collectivized. There is an intelligence operating in the whole, and there are parts of that intelligence operating in the singular reality of an individual. It is, nonetheless, the same intelligence. To the extent that a recalcitrant understands this, they will never worship another, but rather they will support another, love another, have compassion for another's suffering, and so on. They exist as a part of the whole intelligence and do its bidding as immaculately as possible, moment to moment.
Soin paused and looked out to the sea that had finally become invisible in the complete darkness of the night.
You desire subjects who serve you and your vision of what should be done or not done. This single act creates recalcitrance, and so you have created them, and in this same way you can uncreate them. That choice is yours, but we would uphold the theory that you control this only because of your physical powers.
As Soin spoke, there was a budding light in the bowels of the queen. Her entire countenance became a volcano, preparing to erupt. Soin noticed it. Altar seemed to come out of her trance. The queen stood to her full glory and shot a stream of fire into the sky. When this fire reached its highest mark, a black shadow could be seen flying far in the distance. Just a tiny smudge, and only visible from the fire's light. The massive head of Alim turned to Soin, eyes ablaze with anger. Her voice hoarse from the incredible eruption of energy shooting into black night.
You brought the air dragon?